Check, check. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back on my channel. Today, I'm gonna show you how I made tape, which is out on Divided. It's part of my latest EP. And yeah. But before we start, I just want to let you know that I'm gonna be doing one-on-one lessons. If you're interested, just write me a nice little email. I'm gonna put my email down below. And yeah, so we can improve your sound together. So for those of you who didn't listen to the track yet, I'm gonna play it a little bit and then we're gonna take a deep dive in it. Okay. Yeah, that's basically the track. Second drop is a bit different, sounds like this. But yeah, you get the idea. So, with this track I had a pretty different approach. I sadly don't have like the first versions anymore, but I basically glued two tracks together. The first one was this. It already, like the first render already sounds pretty much like the end result. Yeah, almost the same, just a little bit different bass sound here. And I combined it with this track. Because basically it's the same vibe, same I'm forgetting words today, but it doesn't matter. It has the same vibe. Okay. Yeah, the idea started with this little lo-fi piano loop I made, which is basically I made it for like lo-fi hip-hop beats. It sounds like this. As you can see also it's 110 BPM. But yeah, I built the whole track around this vibe basically. This is how it sounds in the track now. And also these sounds. That's basically from that sample. Here is it also, but layered. Yeah, I'm gonna go into detail later, but this is basically how the whole thing started. Yeah. So let me show you actually how I messed up this piano sound. Let me turn these things off. It's just pitched up basically. Nothing too special happening here. The Elastic Pro, which gives it like a really weird sound. Then just some compression, which sounds really disgusting because it's crackling like crazy because the attack is on 0.10 milliseconds. Some EQing, just took out the low frequencies. My god, it's really horrible. But yeah, doesn't matter. This random group, which it doesn't matter that it's a group, just the signal just goes through. We have the granular from Melda. Right, let me turn these off as well. The preset happy ending. It's a pretty nice preset. You can put it on any kinds of sounds and you instantly get this wall of granular goodness. Just amazing. Then I added a shimmer as well to make it even more soupy. Isotope vinyl. Because I wanted to keep the flavor, like this lo-fi flavor. So this is why I kind of like over-processed everything and then added the vinyl and stuff like that. So that it has still this lo-fi beats vibe to it. I'm saying vibe a lot. I'm sorry. Okay, some filtering. Yeah, just, you know, letting the filter slowly open up towards the drop. And then, like I said before, I put it here, reversed it. I think there's slightly different. Oh, this is a bit weird. Just some compression, EQing, the OTT again. Please don't judge. On the group there is another. Okay, just another compressor. EQ that's doing nothing. A limiter. I think the limiter and the compressor are really getting activated once it's doubled. Not too bad, not too bad. Basically what I've done here, like this is the this is pitched just 4 semitones up from the original. And the other one is, I think, yeah, 16 semitones. So you have a more filled spectrum, basically. Okay. I would say this most important sound, like the second most important sound in this whole thing, is the vocal, which at first I really was like just putting it in as a joke because it's kind of sketchy, kind of weird. But in the end, I mean, it's kind of what makes the track, you know. I think this is just a random splice sample, yeah. Let me show it to you. Big surprise, it's not a male voice. Yeah, I just completely destroyed this sound, I think. Let me quickly close everything here and show you. Because when I use vocals, I always try to just make them weird and give them my own flavor. So without it already sounds pretty different. That's because right here I used the Elastic Pro mode again, and then format shifted it down. And I didn't pitch it down, so that's why it sounds a bit weird and different. Yeah, I think all of them basically. This one is pitched a bit. I'm not sure why, but it's probably right. Yeah, and then with the processing, it sounds like this. Just really beefed up. Really, really beefed up. So what's going on here is a notification on my phone, which I'm gonna mute now. Bye-bye. What's happening here is some pretty aggressive EQing. Again, let me enable them one by one so you can see the process behind it. Basically taking the frequencies out that didn't really fit. We have a filter that's just for the intro. Let me go to the drop. Another filter. I think that's also, yeah, in the intro. OTT. I really overused OTT in this project. But yeah, why not? If it sounds good, it sounds good. This is just a volume boost. I could have also just boosted the volume in here, but you know, it is how it is. Oh, and now I just moved the wrong thing. That's no problem. Let me get Valhalla right here. Okay, so a reverb, which is being automated, I think. Yeah, that's not activated all the time, just for some fills. We have Soothe. This really changes the texture again, because if you use Soothe really aggressively and it takes out all of the resonant frequencies, it's just gonna end up sounding like noise. And you can really hear it here that it introduces this sort of digital noise sound. Which I thought made it sound a bit better for this tune. Because, as I told you in the beginning, I like to fuck it up. Here is some more EQing. Just taking out the lows. And then smashing it. And just simple limiting. You know how it goes. The other sound, it's basically running through the same chain. And it's the same sample even. Okay, I thought it was a different one. On its own, it sounds kind of weird. But in the mix, it's fine, I think. I think the other frequencies mask the weird sounding frequencies in that sample. It sounds kind of dissonant on its own. But yeah, it works. Then we have the Phaser Blazer. This is... I am not really sure. Let me check if we have the original in here. I think we do. I think we do. What a discovery. Yes. I did a really weird thing here. So it's basically like also one of the first ideas from this. Okay, there isn't even... Really weird sounding effects here. This is basically the trick. So it isn't really a phaser, it's just using plugins in a way that they're not really intended to be used, which I love to do. I think the same thing is applied here. Yeah. So it's the pitch shifter. Wait, this is not activated. Sorry. Here we have another good example. So this is the pitch shifter, and I basically automated like the grain size, and this gives it a weird phasing effect. Which I really liked. Same here. It kind of has like a different flavor than like a regular phaser. Yeah, I rendered this stuff out. This is also why it was hidden before. Let me also hide it again. I rendered this out. Let me quickly show you the original sound. Should be this one. Yeah, and I used this one to sort of like go along with the piano here. I think there's more processing happening here. And it's pretty cool because in the mix it sounds like it's changing here, but it's actually like pretty static and boring. But because it's playing at the same time as the piano, which is changing, it doesn't sound as boring. So this is basically all the time, throughout the whole track, it's the same. It's doing the same thing. Yeah, the processing on here is a chow tape model. Wait, let me do the good old trick again. It's just rounding it off a bit, degrading it a bit. We have an EQ that is EQing out very annoying things. Because I just wanted it sort of like to be an effects layer. That's an interesting thing. That's gonna play a part later. We have some compression again. And a limiter. Again, pretty standard stuff. Yeah, those are basically the main sounds. Together they produce a very nice image. All right. So next up we have the bass sounds. It's multiple layers in this tune. Let me play them. Yeah. We have first just a really simple it says stereo sub, but I put the unison down. Normally it would sound like this. Okay, doesn't even work probably because, yeah. Never mind. Yeah, this is just a basic sub. Has some movement. As you can see, this one is rooted to the level of this oscillator. Just some harmonics here. I think maybe that was also in my last video. I just like to do that to add some harmonics to my subs. There is literally, I think, no processing on here. Yeah, nothing. Just a limiter to boost the volume. Also, again, I could have literally just, okay, no, not in this case. Yeah, just boost the volume. Then we have this one right here. This one is doing nothing. Can delete it. There's a bit more happening here, but the thing is, like in the mix of the whole track, you don't even really hear it. But if you turn it off, it's a bit too boring. You know, it has its purpose, but it's definitely not one of the main elements here, which is quite unusual for my kind of music, that the bass sounds are not really the main elements in the mix. But yeah, what do we have here? Let me turn everything off again. All right. First off, we have a Saturn. Oh my god. Okay, no, let me go into the sound first. Sounds horrible. So this is the sound on its own. Sounds really disgusting. There are a bunch of effects. So the EQ is not on and the chorus is not on. Let me turn those off. Here again, it's a pretty cool trick just to pan the oscillators slightly left and right so you get more stereo. Yeah. Nothing too crazy. Then this is what's completely destroying it. And we have a... Oh, I don't think that's even doing anything. Nope. Okay. Phase are the same, so those are basically not doing anything. So yeah, pretty ugly sound, but then once you start shaping it, this is just, again, a bit of saturation here. The decapitator destroying it even more. It kind of hurts my ears now, if I'm being honest. But that's what's happening sometimes, you know? Then I took out the high end because it just sounded too bad. Very digital and yeah, just not very pleasant. But I really like the harmonics down here. I reintroduced the high end with some texture. Simple stuff. I think there's not much happening here. No, actually nothing is happening here. Then we have a compressor. I, for some reason, used the standard one, which is pretty shit. Bitwig, please delete it. We have a phaser. So you can already see or hear it's getting shaped and more interesting. And that's basically one thing about sound design. Like, don't expect to be getting like the craziest sounds directly out of Serum. You can do that. Some people do that. But it's just much more fun and you're much more flexible if you just shape it afterwards with different plugins, because you just have more freedom to get the sound exactly how you want it. Just some slight EQing. I also tried to remove the side signal here, but ended up leaving it in. Another oh, Jesus. Another decapitator. Again, squashing it. Then we have another Saturn. Also, more squash. removing the sides from the low frequencies. A filter. Yeah. Basically making it less present in the mix. And another EQ to shape off the sound. So we've gone from a sound that sounds like total crap to something sounds kind of pleasant. And together with the sub, we get a nice bass sound. Right here, this is basically just some mid emphasizing shizzle. It's literally just a saw wave. What else do we have? Some distortion. These are all turned off. Just some distortion, filtering. Yeah, there's... At the end, it's just a saw wave. The processing is also just an EQ. Sounds kind of... looks kind of wild. But yeah, I just wanted more harmonics in that region. So together, the bass sounds like this. Without it... Oh, sorry. Let me do it differently. Like this. This has more pressure in the mid. Yeah. We have this little bass fill here, just to change it up a bit. He's cold, mate. He is indeed. Yeah, my preset names are a bit weird. Oops. This is for example an example where I really contradict myself, because the sound is completely, like, most of the sound is coming, or all of the sound is coming directly out of Serum. So yeah, I'm sorry about that. If you want to recreate the sound, I would say just pause the video, look at the settings here. But it's basically just utilizing FM and a bunch of effects. And the most important thing is this EQ, because it pushes this harmonic here. Without it, wouldn't sound nearly as cool. Yeah, this is a cool trick to get interesting bass sounds. Jesus. Sorry about that. To get interesting bass sounds, just play around with boosting or removing harmonics. Because it can give you really interesting results. What else do we have? We have another filler sound here, which is just a stereo sub. Yeah. Just basic stuff. Again, nothing too crazy. Not even EQ'd. Just limited to death. Yeah, that's basically it for the bass sounds. Those right here are just the impacts from the intro. And reverse. Easy stuff. Yeah. Let me quickly go to the second drop, and also on the way there, the Atmos sounds, they are basically just the main sound, like the piano and the vocal, I think, with a bunch of reverb. There's literally nothing special about that. That's all. That's literally all that's happening. Yeah, I talked about this in my old video as well, so I'm not gonna go into detail really with this one. Yeah, second drop. Now we can talk about this transgate here, because it's actually starting before, I think. Yeah, in the second half. It's basically teasering the second drop. Because the second drop is very choppy and has a different flavor. And I'm introducing here as well the second main sound. It's a big one. I think what's interesting about this sound is the MIDI even, because I used MPE here, so some of the notes are... Jesus, my nose! Some of the notes are pitching in a different way. And for example, this one is pitching down to this one, like there's like this glide, which you can also hear pretty good. Yeah. This really makes it a bit exciting, as opposed to just having like regular chords that just change on the one. Yeah, let me dive into this sound, because this is probably an interesting one. So what we have here is the good old polysynth. I forgot to mention, I have for this whole project turned on the groove, which means the whole project is at a certain percentage of shuffle. Usually I wouldn't really do that because it makes some things really complicated. For example, placement of kicks and snares, but in this project it doesn't really matter, because the kicks and snares are not placed in a way that it would be a problem. But yeah, also in general, it's just better to really see the shuffle, like right here, because now if you zoom in here, you can't see the shuffle. It's just straight notes. So yeah, but just in case, if you're wondering why this stuff is shuffling, it's because of that. Just an arpeggio, which is set to chord mode. So it plays all the notes at once. It's a pretty basic polysynth patch, which I think has one automation, yeah, right here. And another one. Yeah, but just switching up the shape a little bit. Alright, what's happening next is, let me turn this on and everything off. Everything off. Good night, good night, good night, good night. So, the first thing I added is the emphatic. I really love that plugin. It's like a convolution reverb thingy, but you have these controls here. And if you just use them in a weird way, again, you're gonna get super cool results. And you also get a nice stereo image. Sounds very metallic and roomy. Then don't ask me about this one, please. It's a really interesting EQ. I've no idea why I did it that way, to be honest. It happens. It just sounded right. So without it, it's really harsh and loud. A lot of high end, but without it, you get a bit of a more tamed sound. Just a bit of saturation. A bit more. Some vinyl. To give it that old school flavor again. Just like with the piano. Then we have another EQ. Just taking out around the 300 Hertz area. Because it tends to, when you have many synthy sounds and with the vocal and everything, tends to really build up down there. So always watch your 300 Hertz. The Chow tape model again. I love this plugin just to degrade stuff and make it sound a bit more rough. We have another EQ. Just took down these frequencies. By the way, there is also an EQ on the whole group here. This is why you can't hear the sub. So without it, it would sound like this. I'm gonna turn it back on now. So, just a filter. I think this is for here. Yeah. Then to chop it up even more, I added the trans gate just like on this sound. Pretty cool, but it made it really short, so I think later on I'll boost it again. And we have another interesting EQ. Ta-da! Which completely changes the sound again. And it's basically doing the exact opposite like this EQ. But you know, that's how it is sometimes. And I saturated in between and added like these weird artifacts. So it's not really that it's like a stupid move or something like that. It's just now I'm boosting the high end again because it has changed. Like it's sounding different now. It sounds more rough and it has more texture. Before it was just like noisy and digital and kind of disgusting. And now it has like a really nice texture to it. We have a limiter. There we are. Boosting volume. Just a filter for automation and stuff. We have shimmer, which is also for automations. I'm clipping it here pretty hard. Also just to make it louder. This one is for volume automation. I'm not sure, I think. Because it has like a little bit of a tail. I cut it out here. Because without that... yeah, it had this little blip at the end. And we have a tape stop. This is only being used at the end here. Yeah, just a stylistic thingy. Alright, this is basically the main sound from the second drop, and it's being played together with this sub. Cool stuff. The sub is a bit different than the other one. but still the principle is the same. A sine wave with some harmonics and then more harmonics, but these are stereo this time. Sort of like an organish sound. And then they are being chopped by this LFO here. So they play nicely with polysynth. Processing wise, I think it's nothing special. Just an EQ. Yeah, just some basic shaping of the sound. Some compression. A tool that is doing nothing. A limiter. This is a compressor. Oh yeah, I gave this, I think, its own sidechain. I don't really remember why. I think there was a different kick at first or something like that. Let me check quickly what's happening here. Literally no idea. Doesn't make sense really. I think it's there from when it was the old idea, because there I had this boomy kick on the one. Not even this version. Okay, I'm just talking nonsense now. Okay, what else? This sound is coming in as well. We saw that already. So that's basically all the main elements. Here we just have noise. That's literally just noise. It's all noise. Yeah. Nothing interesting happening there. Those are basically all the synth sounds, bass sounds in the track. What we have left now are the drums. The drums have a pretty interesting rhythm in the first drop, because I basically skipped the one. Let me show you. Yeah, second drop. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I thought it would be interesting to have like an open hat on the one, and then the kick on the end. Sounded pretty cool. I was of course inspired by Matthews. We all know the beautiful track from his album, where he uses the same thing. Coincidence? I don't think so. It was not my idea. Okay, so let's start with the kick. It's just a donk. Good old donk with kick 2. Nothing special happening here. Also went over that in my last video. Snare is also pretty simple. We got our trend. Let me play it first. Got our transient here, which is just a serum donk. Yeah, and some layers. That's can I see the sample? Oh yeah, that's the sample. Some plastic bag recording from myself. And they're panned left and right, basically. Then we have some processing on here. Pushing the mids a bit. Wave shaping. And here, making space for the fundamental, for the transient. because without that, it will again sound like crap. Much nicer. That's the snare. Pretty straightforward stuff. We have a tom fill here. That's literally just addictive drums. Just some short drum hits. They are going into the decapitator. Then some EQing. Taking out the harsh high end. Making them shorter. Boosting them. And I think here's some Mac distortion. That's literally it. It's also here. The crazy fill. Yeah, let's go to this group here. Show like all the top percussions, like the heads. They also have some group processing this time, I think. Oh, okay. The group as well. Gonna show that later. They just have a texture layer on them to glue them together. Yeah, it's gluing them together, and it's also introducing some nice high end. Without it, it's kind of dull. But this really opens up the high end again. We have simple noise head. Nothing special. The addictive drums. I think this is probably my go-to thingy. Just a nice head, some ring mod, some EQing, some soothing, just smoothing out the heads. Compression, more soothe, and another EQ. That's literally it. Yeah. Then we have my snap machine. That's basically I have these snapping sounds here. Let me check. I just recorded myself snapping and put this stuff in a multi-sampler, and then those are getting triggered randomly, I think. Yeah. Are getting triggered randomly. There is a multi-note so that more notes are playing at the same time, although I'm just playing one note. What else? This strum thingy, so that they don't play at the same time. Sounds more like multiple snaps, not just one. What else? There's some EQing. Yeah, more EQing. Wave shaper. Limiter. Time shift, because when you use that strumming thingy, it gets shifted to the back. So here I counteract this basically. Here we have kind of the same principle. It's like this rain Foley sound, which I loaded into this multi-sampler. Some EQing, compression, which is just acting as a volume boost. Right here, I think that's just an old loop from myself. Let me check. Yeah. I just put it in here so I can make it shuffle, because this is turned on. Yeah, and it's just pitched up. That's about it. Yeah, the second drop is pretty much the same. Just a slightly different groove. And that's about it for this tune. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments or on Instagram or anywhere you want. And remember, if you want to have a private lesson with me, just hit me up. Email is in the description. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.